tell me about the Darien. Start there, and we'll kind of go through. We won't take too long this, but what's the history of the Darien Gap? And it's got a bit of a wreck, like kind of why.
Yeah, well, the Darien is this geographical, ethnological also, and biological region that sits between Colombia and present-day Colombia and Panama, and yeah, it's got a reputation. I think even from the old days, it's like this area. To me, it's like this area that stood between mankind and its dreams. So it's always like this struggle to cross it, right? To get over to the other side. And back in the days of the Spanish colonial times, the point was to get to the Pacific Ocean, because that's where all the wealth and the riches of South America were for them. And then now to present day, where you have drug smugglers, crossing through the jungle to get their bundles up in north, and to make some money, and also migrants, that come from all over the world, from Africa and Asia and the Caribbean and even South America as well, and they're all trying to go through every country between here and North America, U.S. and Canada. And the Darien is like that huge hurdle that's in their way. So, yeah.
Perhaps the most perilous path anywhere, the Darien Gap, a wild, lawless stretch that straddles Colombia and Panama.
You don't have to look far to find stories on the Darien. From vanishing tourists to guerrilla militias, international drug smuggling, and a modern-day human mass migration crisis, the Darien always seems to draw the spotlight. Over time, it's earned a reputation as one of the most dangerous jungles in the world. For some, however, it is also home. Indigenous groups such as the Embera and the Kuna inhabit parts of this region, in small settlements inland and along the coast. Over the centuries, they've witnessed firsthand the passing of so many different people through their land, and have some interesting stories to tell along the way.
According to the Kuna, the New World was not found or discovered or settled by Christopher Columbus, but by Viking Scotsmen.
They're not entirely wrong. Though by no means the first Europeans to reach South America, in 1698 the recently formed Company of Scotland landed 5 ships and over 1,000 Scots on a small peninsula on the Darien's Caribbean coast. Their aim? To seek a crossing of the Darien to the Pacific, to establish a trading colony, and to funnel that wealth back to their homeland.
The story is very well documented and failed miserably.
After just 9 months, less than a quarter of those who made the journey to Darien still survived. Despite the arrival of 2 more waves of ships, within 2 years the project was abandoned entirely. The failure of the Darien scheme nearly bankrupted Scotland, and ultimately played a significant part in bringing about the formation of the United Kingdom just a few years later.
This expedition is very unique in the sense that we were crossing the Darien jungle as well, a section of it, and then to sail, paddle down to an area called Puerto Escoses, which it means in English, it means Scottish port. And so part of that was for us to evoke that idea of being in the jungle and crossing it, much like the Scotsmen did back then, but also to explore, you know, whatever's left of their journey through that area. So, so yeah, that's why we're here.
The first stage of our journey was to cross the jungle of the Darien and to reach the Caribbean Sea. The only paths here are those made by the countless streams and rivers, a maze only known by a few local jungle guides. Our 60-kilometer route across the jungle of the Darien, on paper, doesn't look too bad. But in an environment that can sometimes yield less than 1 kilometer an hour, 60k can feel altogether more serious. Nearly 4 hours, not even done 5k.
Hammock rig in the jungle.
Mañana. Y esa estufa no se cae ahí, uno le va a pegar una patada y la...
I wasn't going into them.
Okay.
Covering this terrain is a constant battle. With 100% humidity and temperature in the high 30s, it's one of the most exhausting environments there is. we drew near to the end of our second day in the jungle, it was becoming clear that crossing through to the coast was going to take us significantly longer than we'd hoped.
We're looking at the footprints of a jaguar here that are probably 3-4 days old, and they're quite impressive. You can see some of the front paws and then the behind print as it stepped on the other one. They can be up to 300 pounds. That's like what, like 120 kilograms. Yeah. The ones around here.
After 2 full days on our feet, we'd covered just 11 miles. Just over half of what we'd hoped. One thing that kept cropping up in conversation today was sort of sunk in the realization that, we are a fit, healthy, well-equipped group with all the kit we need. And after 2 days, some of the group are already really struggling. And it sort of sunk in, I think, to a lot of the guys here that this place is hard enough as it is with all of that. And there are people 50 miles away undertaking this journey, not through choice, not because they want to be here, but because they feel they have no other choice for their families to try and find a better life. And how utterly terrifying that must be to be in this environment without any of those support systems. And I think it really sunk in today how lucky we are, and how humbled we are, and how incredibly brave those migrants must be.
We kind of had a 3-day plan, which has had to be set back a bit. So we're looking for maybe even up to 5 days. So I think mentally you have to change your mindset and think they're going to be in here for longer. We have enough food and we have everything we need, but mentally to be stuck in this environment for longer than you plan is always hard. So everyone's just going through that reframing process right now. Buddy, I'm gonna have to get ready. So interesting.
He's a traveling companion. We got to one of the camps. We were meeting another group of porters, and they've told us it's actually only maybe 3 hours and a much more straightforward route to the coast. So we're going to try. It's just gone 2 o'clock. We're going to try and get there today. You okay?
As an important archaeological site, it is prohibited to camp on Puerto Escoses. So with the light fading, we pushed on to the island where we'd be spending the next few nights, hosted by the community of a nearby village. We had no idea of the welcome we'd get.
I've never seen anything like that in my entire life.
So we've just had the most incredible welcome and evening. The Kuna have danced for us, they've fed us, we've been greeted like long lost family, and one of the ladies just gave the most incredible speech during the evening, and she said, and I'll never forget it, she said, "We don't know where you're from, but we just want you to know that you're welcome." And she said, "We know this place, this area has a reputation, it's not like that anymore, and that they've been waiting for a long time to welcome people to their island, and we are the first people that they have ever hosted here." And it was incredibly moving, really, just, yeah, really, really powerful. As we watched the morning sunrise slowly illuminate this incredible island, I couldn't help but think that whilst we'd come here on a journey to explore the past, for our hosts the most important thing was our presence. We were the first visitors they'd ever had, and that clearly meant a huge amount to them.
Turista martani, amar bela yerito ke, amar we abinda to kebe, andu punuito, ordu yenuito, amar tupu, amar narbas mala, takudi bela nana imar yerito moka, machar gandeo moka, takudi seto usku yerito le do we mar kebe ito le do we na we tupu sega, nanoni marto, kebe na mas kutte mala imar kaseto gusko yolete, nuerito leke, me oibos pali. Yo kudi we markebe emi na to na bai gantani mosun no dipe abin takke kusunna etsa no.
En primer lugar, nosotros sabemos, estamos muy claros como pueblo Kuna, que el turismo es una fuente de economía para el pueblo Kuna. Así que al tener una visita extranjera, sé que hay una entrada económica para las familias kunas. Entonces, para este entorno nosotros tenemos que enfocarnos a un turismo sostenible, cultural, ¿verdad? A un turismo alternativo. Este es el objetivo que debemos buscar como Kuna, sin alterar nuestros entornos naturales. Bueno, ya son historias que si remontamos históricamente, nosotros sabemos que la primera llegada del extranjero fue un exterminio de nuestra cultura, eso sí lo sabemos, ¿verdad? Por eso nuestros abuelos han sentido algo de, ¿cómo se digo?, sentimiento en contra de los europeos, principalmente de los españoles. Pero actualmente ya tenemos otra impresión, sabemos de que ya ellos no vienen con esas intenciones. Nosotros como Kuna vivimos en nuestro entorno natural. O sea, ya sabemos enfrentar a la situación, cualquier situación que se nos presente. Yo creo que por ello el Kuna se ha adaptado muy rápidamente. Entonces, si la pregunta fuera si para los extranjeros adaptarse, no es cierto, claro, sería muy difícil. Muy difícil porque no están adaptados a este medio.
The time had come to see what was left of the historic Darien project.
sea, Ricky, 8 horas, me estás bebiendo, loco. Me estás bebiendo, loco. Está lloviendo segundos. O sea, vamos a llevarlo al punto clave, papá.
Directo.
Por favor. Oiga. Venir, venga. No pueden venir así.
So we're looking at the sea here and the site of Fort St Andrew, and we've just walked to here, to the edge of what would have been a moat. So this is still really easy to see on the land, where they basically had to cut it out of the land. There's some straight lines.
Yeah. Let's go and have a look. Greg's basically bushwhacked his way to find more bits that we didn't know about.
So the possible site of a church and a powder store.
Something here, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, it says entrance, but I don't know what that would mean.
Allá holandés.
Ajá.
Puerto Escoses. Cuando viene, ahí viene una bota, entra, se sale aquí. Más rápido va. Para cruzar, para cruzar.
Okay.
Por eso lleva ya, ¿cómo se llama? La troceaba la roca. Ajá, sí. Aquí, antes estaba Gañón aquí. Aquí directamente, cuando viene, nos dispara. Aquí.
¿Cuántos años tienes, Ophilio? Just stumbled across this big pile of rocks here, which we think on the map we have from Professor Horton, who excavated this site 25 years ago. We think this might be the site of the old Powder magazine, where they kept their ammunition. It's definitely the sign of something built.
Because it's a perfectly circular.
It's circular, yeah.
Using the archaeologist's map, we continue to look for remains of shipwrecks marked on the reefs. If there was anything there, we didn't find it. Whatever mark the original Scottish settlers made on this landscape, it has all but vanished, reclaimed by the waves and the jungle. There was only one thing left to do.
So we're here on the beach in Puerto Escoses, and we're drinking whiskey, and it's probably been some 320 something years since people have stood on this spot and drank whiskey. Slandiva. Cheers to the Scotsman.
The Darien project, I don't think it's overstating it to say that it was a total disaster in the end for Scotland. It pretty much bankrupted the country. The team that set out to deliver this colony project, sold the country a dream, and the coffers of the country were empty to come here. The hopes and dreams of all of those settlers were effectively wiped out by disease, by the geography, by battle with the Spanish, and ultimately the colony failed twice, and in the process effectively bankrupted Scotland. And pretty much you can draw a direct line between that event and the formation of the United Kingdom, with the political union between Scotland and England at the time. So again, it's not overstating it to say that geopolitically then You know, this event in this far-flung location, the Darien Gap in Panama, you know, pretty much led to the creation of what we know as the United Kingdom. And I find that absolutely fascinating, that this is a real place that we visited and that had those profound consequences, but so forgotten in the history, you know, of our country. The journey's not over. We still have to get to Colombia, and we're going to paddle away from Golden Islands tomorrow and head for the border.
"15 miles in, with just 5 miles left to paddle, we passed the last village, far inshore, of the home of our newfound friends. With just one bay left to cross, we were almost there. But the Darien wasn't done with us yet.
We got everybody, right? Yeah, we nearly made it, but we took the call to get on board the boat and make for cover, which in itself was quite an exciting ride. As with the best laid plans, sometimes you've got to without plan B, C, D, E and X. The Darien handed it to us once more, nature in all its fury. When you set out on these things, you don't necessarily know how things are going to unfold. This took 2 years to plan a route that we were all happy and comfortable with from a safety point of view. And I think, you know, that in itself was very rewarding, you know, to see this thing come off, to have the expedition really scratch the surface of the places we want to go, meshing that, you know, those kind of historical overviews with being here in the present, you know, in this place, as we stumbled upon just a forgotten, abandoned place in the middle of the jungle, in the middle of the Darien Gap. For me, that's what it was all about. What you find en route is the reason, really.
The real eye-opening moment, I think, for a lot of these guys has been travelling to a new place, one that has historically had a dangerous reputation, and must have had a lot of trepidation, a lot of anxiety around what are the people going to be like. Will we be welcomed? Will we be viewed with hostility? The nicest thing from this is the chance to see that preconception get utterly annihilated in the smiles and the welcome of a community who wanted nothing more than to have a positive interaction and to have a positive future.
You know, this is a place that is notorious. You know, it's been subject to a lot of criminal activity over the years, narco-trafficking, and now, in the present day, it's subject to human trafficking. You know, people wanting to make a better life for themselves, you know, travelling from South America to El Norte, you know, to the United States via a dangerous and perilous route through the Gap. And I don't think, you know, we can. It would be trite to not acknowledge that is going on in this place, and we were keenly aware of that, you know. And I think, having experienced this place with all of the safety gadgets, gizmos, planning that we have, and knowing that there's people in the present day, in the 21st century, walking into the jungle with a plastic bag, you know, a few provisions, flip-flops, you know, and perhaps somebody far less scrupulous, you know, trying to lead them through. It's humbling to think that this is going on, and it's very sad. So I think all of those things combined have made this a really poignant trip for many, many reasons. And I'm very proud that we've pulled it off. Yeah, humbled, as we always are, by the jungle, but everything going on around us has been part of that rich tapestry on this one.